The Big Girl Feelings podcast contains explicit content that may be triggering for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Sex, consensual non-monogamy, toxic masculinity, boundary setting, fat phobia. These are just a few on a very long list of topics considered taboo and stigmatized by our society. But not anymore. Through genuine, honest, and often uncomfortable conversations, we're running away from societal norms and sprinting toward living our authentic truth. This is the podcast where anything goes. I'm your host, Ashley, and we're here to talk about our big girl feelings. Welcome back to the Big Girl Feelings podcast, where we are redefining societal norms and shifting perspectives through uncomfortable conversations. I'm your host, Ashley, and today we are going to talk about the sex club.
Ooh.
What is a sex club, you might wonder? This particular establishment, I think they prefer to refer to themselves as an adult playground, like a water-themed adult playground or water-themed social club, which just kind of takes away the stigma, that could be associated with it. But this particular establishment is called Oasis Aqualounge, and it's located in downtown Toronto. And it's in I'd say the building is a couple hundred years old. It was maybe like a two-door in the 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, you described it as a mansion, I think.
Yeah, like a manor more so,
Yes.
I would say. It has 4 floors, absolutely gorgeous building from outside. If you Google it, you can find pictures of it. It looks really unassuming from the outside. The entrance is on sort of the side, so you don't even really go in through the front. I just kind of wanted to, first of all, it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. Brent and Rebecca, I think, would say the same. It was like an eye-opening, life-changing, one of those epiphany moments you have,
Yeah, really like sex positive experience.
Oh my God, it was the most sex positive, body positive experience I've probably ever had in my life. We raved about it when we came back. We went back a second time. I wanted to dedicate a whole episode to it. First of all, to praise the establishment itself and the processes that they have in place and just what they're providing to the community, and in particular to the queer community and the non-monogamous community. And I just wanted to make people aware of it. If you're ever on a trip to Toronto, or if you're listening from Toronto, if you live in the city, highly, highly recommend checking it out. And we're going to talk all about it. We're going to talk about what a sex club is, who it serves, what kind of amenities they offer. Like I said, Oasis in particular is a water-based club, and so they have a huge outdoor pool, which I'm going to talk a lot about. I wish I was back in that pool right now, if I'm being completely honest. And they have a hot tub and a dry sauna. It's just a wonderful place, and I'm really excited to talk about it and find out if you guys have any questions about sex clubs in general or this particular establishment. We don't have anything like that here in Newfoundland for obvious reasons. It's just, I guess, too small of a place, right? It's, I don't necessarily think that there isn't enough interest for it here, but I do think that it's too small of a community because you'd end up, walking in and your uncle or your cousin.
Pitch it to the tourism board. Who knows? Maybe
you never know. We can't even get a casino here. Yeah, so I guess I'll just start by describing the facility itself, and then we can talk a little bit about what we did there. And it's in a 4-story, 2-door in downtown Toronto, very unassuming. As soon as you approach the front door, there's a security guard waiting to check your ID, check your bags, make sure nobody is too inebriated to
participate.
Yes, exactly. On Fridays and Saturdays, maybe even Sundays, I'm not 100% sure, it's couples and women, single women only. And also queer people, trans people are also welcome on those nights, but single men are not allowed. So he's checking for that. He's checking for anybody that's there without a partner. It's just for the protection of everybody, protection of the single women who are coming, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. You walk into the front door, and honestly, it just kind of looks like Plaza Bowl. When you're walking down the stairs at Plaza Bowl, it's just stairs and like a wall. So you walk in, there's a set of stairs with a door that goes into the main facility, but then straight ahead of you is like a glass barrier, and there's somebody there to greet you, asking if you have tickets for the evening. So they have different events all the time, and you can purchase your tickets in advance. So we had purchased our tickets in advance. So she lets one group in at a time, because they have a very specific group of rules that they will read to every single person who comes in through the door, no matter if you're their sister or somebody that they've seen come in every single night that month. You listen to the rules. They let you in. There's a little computer system, and now you're seeing, at this point, you're seeing the bottom level, like the first level of the facility, which is where the bar is. So you register, you log in, there's a little computer thing there, you put your email address in, and it picks up that you have tickets or not. And then they give you a locker and a key for your locker. They provide everything you could need. Towel service is provided.
Do you get like name tags or anything like that?
So you don't get name tags, and that's, I think, a privacy thing. What they do have, though, is a bunch of different colored bracelets.
Oh, like
and
little wristband.
Yes,
type
like
bracelet.
you remember the yellow Livestrong bracelets,
Yes.
the Lance Armstrong ones? They're like those.
Oh,
and
those
they're
little
all
like rubber bracelets.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, okay.
And they're all different colors.
Oh.
And every color represents a different, like, so for example, I can't remember off the top of my head, there is a key posted around the facility. For example, purple might mean that you don't want to be approached at all.
Okay.
Red might mean that you are a couple looking for another female. Green might mean you're a couple looking for another male. Like, so if you don't want to be approached, if you're just there hanging out with your friends and just want to wander around and not have anybody approach you, there's absolutely a way to do that. And they're very, very strict on consent and like
harassment policies
exactly.
and whatever.
So you check in, they read you their list of rules, and their rules are, like I said, they're very, very strict on consent and cleanliness and stuff like that. So no intercourse in like the hot tub, like in the water, which is just common sense, right? That just ruins it for everybody. So I was really happy to hear that policy when I got there. And I'm not even like, cum doesn't really gross me out. Like I know it grosses some people out. We were having a chat about that earlier, actually. But when it's in the water,
that's gross.
It's gross, right? Like I would not want to get into a small body of water.
Certainly not knowingly.
Exactly. With anyway, if you go up to somebody, if you approach somebody and you try to speak to them or preposition them on something and they decline, that is your only opportunity to speak to that person. If you try to approach that person again later in the evening, you're gone. They do not fuck around. They take it very seriously. The security guard, we went this year and we also went last year.
Okay.
Exact same staff. So that'll tell
That's
you like
good.
what kind of environment it is. Everyone who's working there loves working there. You can tell I have this like very good sense of camaraderie. They're like one of the bartenders, non-binary person. They remembered that I was from Newfoundland because they were like thinking about moving here maybe.
Oh,
And remembered from the year before. I had been there one time. They
That's
had
so
served.
sweet.
I couldn't believe it. They had served us like maybe 3 or 4 times the first time we were there, and of course I'm a chatty person, so I'm a chatty Kathy. So I was
You're chatting, you're tipping,
I was chatting
you're
up
memorable.
exactly right, and yeah, like I was just blown away. And the security guard, I swear there's 4 of him because he's just everywhere. Like this is a 4-story building, and every time I look, he's there, and I'm like, how are you doing this? Like, are you astral projecting yourself? But he's
That's awesome though. Like that means to me that like you feel very safe going there, and it's a great atmosphere where you're comfortable.
Oh my God, absolutely. So comfortable. I mean, like anything, first walking in, even for me, was a little intimidating because
for sure.
I had done lots of research because that's who I am as a person. And I had gotten nothing but good vibes from everything I've read about the place, you know?
Everything that I've read, like looking into it since we've chatted about it, has seemed very positive.
Absolutely, and there's good reason for that. It's such a well-maintained facility, and I think the fact that they really push the rules on consent and approaching other people, and they have the security guard he's been working there, I think, since it opened. I don't want to say for sure because I'm not 100% sure, but I know he's been there at least, I think he said 5 or 6 years. He's really, really nice guy. I would not fuck with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he just has that presence where he can go from very polite, very cordial, laughing and carrying on with you to I will fuck you up if you don't stop your bullshit real fast. That was, like, for me, that made me feel safe, you know, as a woman. So anyway, from the bar area, I'll continue like the little try to give you a
Yeah,
visual.
bring us back to the visuals, the place, and the bar.
I'll describe the whole place, but you can also go online, and I will link their website in the show notes. But you can go online and do a virtual tour of the facility. You'll be able to then like put what I'm talking about. You'll be able to put like a picture to it and see it. The bottom floor, like I said, you get checked in. They read you all the rules. Very, very stringent, very important rules. They want you to listen and follow to make sure that everybody's having a good time, right? Because, you know, in a place like that, the vibe is so good, and all it takes is just one asshole to fuck it up, right? So just very important to know going in. They do serve alcohol, and you are welcome to consume cannabis on the
premises.
Yes, thank you. But if you are like noticeably like loaded drunk, you're probably not getting in, right? For good reason. So yeah, you're on the main floor. You do your little check-in. The lockers there's a set of lockers. You go up the first set of stairs, and there's a full locker room like you would see in a gym. There's a huge bar, and they have like a self-serve water station, like lemon water. They always have like a drink on special. So like last time we were there, they had made a sangria, and they had a giant thing of it, and it was like
fun.
$10. Like in downtown Toronto, the drinks were like
fairly priced.
Very fairly priced. I was somewhere the other day and was looking at the cocktails, and one of them was $22. Like I can get like a case of Caesars at the liquor store for $22. And I know there's something to be said too about just being out with the girls or a group of people and having a nice crafted cocktail, and I do enjoy that sometimes, but it is also nice to go somewhere where you're getting a decent drink for $10 or $12.
Nice to get a cheap drink every now and then.
Totally. This is a place where when you go there, you're going to want to spend the whole day because it's just such a vibe. It's nice that the drinks are like reasonably priced. You just set up a tab at the bar. Then looking downstairs, they've got some music blasting. People are mostly naked, but also some people are wearing, you know, I saw literally everything. We saw a guy and a woman. He was in like a power suit and tie. She was in an evening gown. They had come for, I did end up speaking with them a little bit outside. I actually have her on Instagram, which was really nice, but we ended up speaking to them when they were getting their Uber when we were leaving at the end of the night. She just wanted to show him the place, and they didn't like take their clothes off or anything. They had a drink. They were walking around watching and looking, and like I thought that was such a cool, you know, like date night or whatever they were doing. It was fun. Then there was a couple of people in collars with leashes who were being walked around. There were people in bathing suits. There were people in lingerie, people in leather outfits, and lots of people were just naked, and everybody was just kind of hanging out, having a drink. Not really any sex happening on the first floor. There is like a set of couches in the far corner. They actually have a stripper pole, which is really cool, so you can try out your moves. Then, so the first time we went, we had a locker in the locker room, so we went upstairs, we dropped all of our stuff in our locker, got some towels, and then we were kind of debating, like Brent took his clothes off right away. He doesn't give a shit, right? I took off my top, and I think maybe wore like my bathing suit bottoms, and I think for the first little while, Rebecca kept on something, maybe like a bathing suit top. And then like later, it was like maybe 20 minutes that she's like, yeah, fuck this. Very easy to feel.
I think once you're around it, it's like, okay, it's actually fine.
Oh, exactly. Like it took no time at all. So the second floor, a very narrow staircase, right? You know, like an old...
Yeah, it's an old building, so it's not going to be...
And they've tried to keep the integrity of the building intact as much as they could. The second floor has the change rooms, and then they have this like grand ballroom, they call it, it has like a big orgy bed, honestly, is what it is. And then it has a stage, and then there's like room for people to sit on the floor and stuff.
Yeah, I think you said like they use it as like an event space as well.
Yeah, they do. They have events, like I said, most nights of the week, and especially on the weekends. The first time we were there, they had like a transgender dominatrix, and she had her girlfriend there, and she was demonstrating a bunch of her tools that she uses for BDSM.
Right, okay.
She had her girlfriend come up on stage, and she was doing a little presentation, and then once it was all over, she like let volunteers come up and try out some of the stuff. Okay. She had one of those magic wands, like it's honestly kind of
like a bug zapper.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes. feels like a TENS machine. Like sends electro pulses and you can turn it up and down, right? But it's like a little wand, and she was just like rubbing it on her girlfriend and stuff, and it sends shocks through you, and you can play with the settings, I guess, as everybody would have a different tolerance. And it's not for everyone, right? But it was just a cool thing that she had that I had never tried. I never got a chance that night, but I would like to try sometime. Not very often that I'm like,
I haven't tried this
before.
Exactly,
right? That was one of the things that I definitely would like to try in the future. So that was going on in the ballroom. We dropped our stuff off. There's a little like smoking patio where you can smoke whatever, like if you're a smoker, you could go out there. If you smoke weed or whatever, you can make use of the patio. That does face the city, so you do have to like get dressed to go out there.
Okay.
So either put on a robe or wrap a towel around you or something, because they don't want to get in trouble with the city or anything either, right? There's also...
I think nudity is legal in Toronto, like to be topless, even for a woman.
I don't think it is anywhere in Canada. Well, we got to look that up.
I got to look that up because I feel like I remember a court case. But anyway,
Which it should be. But anyway, that's a whole other freaking episode. Yeah, so the second floor also has the dungeon, which is really cool. Like, I've never seen, like, obviously we have some like dungeony equipment while we're working on our sex room, but like this is like a true dungeon, all painted black,
stone walls, I imagine.
I don't think there were any
torches on the wall.
Well, they had 2 St. Andrew's crosses on one wall. There were a bunch of spanking benches. There was a tantra chair in the middle of the room, which was the first
that was the first time you seen it?
Yes, first time we had seen one in person.
Okay.
And first time we had gotten to try one. And surprisingly, it didn't get used a whole lot. I'll tell a couple of stories about that as we go on. But yeah, and it has a big like suspension set from the ceiling, like with a swing and a bunch of like restraints and stuff. And then there's some like chairs and tables and stuff for people to sit and watch or have a drink or whatever. It's a really cool space, and a lot of people were just there watching, honestly. We ventured upstairs, and the third floor is where all of the good shit happens. So the third floor has a bunch of different rooms. What I would call maybe the main room has 2 like fairly large beds. They're all vinyl, easier for cleaning. They have condoms and lube on the walls everywhere in little dispensers. I don't think there was 2 minutes that went by where there wasn't one of the aquaflirts, is what they call their staff, walking through to clean the beds. So like I said, in the main room, there's 2 like big beds with a barrier in between them on one side, and then like a sort of half bed or like a couch situation on the other side. Adjoining to that is another similar type room, all decorated very tastefully, like black. The beds were like a red vinyl situation, so it looked really classy. When you first walk in, I forgot to mention this part, when you first walk onto the third floor, there's another bar, and in the bar they have like a seating area, but then they also have 2-way mirrors out onto the... Yeah, so like if you're a voyeur or an exhibitionist, you can have your fun. Now, of course, obviously everybody knows they're being watched. You wouldn't be able to do that legally, but the pictures on the side with the bar are 2-way mirrors, and you can see through to what people are doing out in the bedrooms, but then from the other side, they just look like pictures. So like if you're out there having sex, you know, because you've walked through and they've told you that there potentially could be people watching, but it's still kind of like a thrill.
But you don't know that, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a picture,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can't see it, so it's like makes it not real, right? So that was a cool, fun little thing. On the 4th floor, we didn't actually go up there because it's a private, like you can book a private room, but they have, and this is with the joke that Chris and I were making last week about, what was it he said? Something like, the McDonald's play place, right, with dildos. Like that's basically what a Sybian machine is. You can look it up. It's supposed to give the best female orgasm. It's like a electric like ride-on thing that has like a dildo attachment. I think you can probably get different attachments for it. And it's supposed to like ride you into oblivion. I haven't gotten to try it. I would like to try it the next time I go back. I'm a little intimidated, but like Rebecca and I think both want to give it a try. That's it for the 4th floor. Like I said, we didn't go up there because it was a private room, but we spent most of our time either on the 3rd floor in the dungeon or down in the pool. For our time on the 3rd floor, we got a bed. One of the beds became free and we got a bed. I cannot believe I forgot to mention this, Chris, when you asked about foreplay last week. A huge part of our foreplay includes massage. Like, we're very touch-oriented people. We own a lot of different massage oils. We have a massage gun that doesn't come out much during sexy time, but like it is a good tool to have. Our new thing now is massage candles.
Right, yeah, you were telling me about that.
They smell divine. Like the one we have right now is strawberry cheesecake.
Oh.
And I got it at Our Pleasure, which is a local store. And they're like, I think I paid around $35 for it, but I've had it for months. And like we use it fairly regularly, I would say. And we've had it for a long time. You light it, you let it burn so that the top layer of stuff turns to oil. Then you blow it out and you pour it immediately so you get that little sizzle on your skin too. And it's not like too hot. If it starts to harden on your skin, it's so easy to soften it back up with your fingertips, right? It's just a really nice... Now, we didn't have that with us at the club, but I just wanted to throw it out there. So like any other time, that's how our time at the club started. We were lying on the bed. We're all doing some rubs. I think Brent and Rebecca were giving me a massage. We were almost immediately approached by this man and woman. It turned out that they were just friends and she was going on to do her own thing. He started to like... just sat down and immediately started massaging me too, which was kind of a little strange, but like I don't think he meant any harm by it. I think it maybe was his first time there, or like second time or something. So she kind of immediately interjected and was like, is this okay? Like, you know,
Right.
Like I said, I don't think it was intentional or malicious or anything on his part. I think he just like didn't really realize, got excited or whatever.
Yeah, he's got ahead of himself. Suppose.
Yeah, so I didn't really care about him touching me. So that went on for a little while. And then I asked Brent and Rebecca to check out the Tantra chair so that I could watch. So he remained sitting with me on the bed. He was really good looking. Like, he was pretty hot, you know? Like a really decent looking guy. He was visiting from Quebec. I think he lives in Quebec near Montreal, but he was originally from Costa Rica. So anyway, we were chatting and he was just sitting with me, and I sent Brent and Rebecca over to the Tantra chair. Everybody was kind of worked up at that point, right? You've been around naked people for a couple of hours. You're making out in the pool and stuff. And I'm going to get back to the pool and the hot tub because that's the like main event for me. But just want to, you know, tell the rest of the story first.
Gotta tease it.
Yes, exactly. They went to the Tantra chair and started having sex. The Tantra chair is really meant for the man to lie back and the woman to sit on top. And it's very ergonomical, which, believe it or not, as you get older is very important in sex. Maybe not even when you're older. It's just good practice, right? So they were...
Protect your knees.
Oh, yeah. What knees I have left anyway. Yeah, so they were, you know, they were getting into it and having a time, and it was pretty hot. And all of a sudden, the room just starts to fill up with people. Like, everybody who was already in the room, I believe it was maybe 10 or 12 people. So there was us on one bed, there were 4 people, like 2 couples had joined together on the other bed. There was another couple on the like couch situation, and then slowly people started to like trickle in the room. And I'm just laughing, and they're just all standing around watching Brent and Rebecca fuck, and the room just fills with people. Like the whole second level of the house, everybody was out like in the hallway walking around, checking things out, having a drink. Just everything kind of went quiet and everybody just piled into the room to watch them fuck. And it was so funny because Rebecca had no idea that anything was happening, but I managed to make eye contact with Brent, and we both just like, Brent was just like shrugging his shoulders and laughing, right? The guy that was with me started making out with me. Then I got a little uncomfortable, like wasn't anything wrong with him, it's just wasn't my vibe that night, like it wasn't what I was there for. So I sort of motioned for them to come back over. But before that happened, I gotta tell this funny story. Brent, is it okay if I tell this story? Okay. We're on the bed, we're giving Rebecca some rubs, because I'm usually curating, right? I'm usually curating the scenes. You can picture me, right? Like a theater director. I'm like, now you. So I'm like, I want you to fuck Rebecca, like bent over the bed. So they get in position and Brent starts going, and then I'm just lying back on the bed, like watching. And then Brent looks like he just stops and he looks absolutely petrified. I'm like, oh my God, is he okay? Like, did he just have a heart attack? What's going on? And he goes, oh my God, dude, are you like, what's going on?
What's
like,
wrong?
I'm
okay?
actually
You're
panicking,
actually
right? And like Rebecca's like looking back over her shoulder, trying to like
see what's going
suss
on.
out what's going on.
Yes.
And he just like pulls his hands back and looks down at his dick and goes, I just came. And the whole fucking place just went up in laughter. Like, he said it like out loud, is fairly quiet there, and like we just all bust out laughing. And then the guy across the way who had been watching the whole time was just dying, and it was just a really funny. Brent has excellent stamina. He does. So, but we had been at that point, we'd been fooling around for a couple hours. We'd been in the pool with all the naked ladies and all the naked gentlemen, and like there was a lot of stimulation
situation to be in. Absolutely.
We're down watching the dungeon stuff happening, and like that's Brent's milieu. Like that's what he loves, right? So like he's pretty stimulated. He's been fucking for like a half an hour at this point. So like it happens, right? But it was just
the surprise and the delivery of the
delivery
line
is what
just
got
really
me, right?
broke the room.
And just the fact that like he bust out laughing and then everyone else started laughing and we were just all kind of like, it was like a little moment, you know? And it was just so funny and it made that trip so much better, just that little. But yeah, everybody was super cool about it.
I think it really helps encapsulate the vibe too of like where everyone's just here to have a good time. 100%.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like that's what they thrive for. They want people, especially women, to be able to express their sexuality in a safe space with no judgment, and they're very, very big on no judgment. Like you can wear whatever you want. There are absolutely no like clothing requirements, no dress code will say. There's no bullying whatsoever. All body shapes, all body types. And when I say all walks of life are welcome, I mean I saw everything that night, from probably fast food workers to doctors and lawyers to, oh man, just like every walk of life, every body type. I was by no means the smallest person there, but I wasn't even close to the biggest person there. There were men, women, trans people, non-binary folk, all types of queers, like everybody on the LGBTQ plus spectrum. It was just like incredible to see, right? You walk in and you're like, I'm with my people. Like, you know, you're with your people, right? Like you said, it's cemented the fact that like we're all in this together. Like everyone's just here to have a good time.
Take us to the pool.
Oh, that's where I'm going, baby. My absolute favorite part of the whole facility, downstairs, and I purposely skipped this on the like visual tour I was trying to give you because it was my favorite part of the whole facility and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about it. From the bottom floor, there's a door. It goes around sort of in a loop. So there's a door on both ends and there's like a little hallway there and there's the bathrooms. Now, these bathrooms are off limits for fucking because some people have like that. They have a thing, right? So
there's designated fucking bathrooms. There are designated fucking
non-fucking
bathrooms.
Oh, there's
which I appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody appreciates, right? There's also, I forgot to mention this, a shaggin' wagon. And it is exactly what it sounds like.
I remember you telling me about that.
It's like a 1960s, like, I don't know what kind of van it is.
I think you said it was like a van cut in half.
It is.
Inside kind of thing.
And it has like, it looks like a hippie van. Like it has like rugs and carpets and like, oh, it's so, and you can get in there and fuck in the back of the van.
Me picturing the Instagram photo shoot I would have.
100%. I mean,
you'd have the OnlyFans photo shoot. I'm doing the Instagram photo shoot.
Yeah. I'd be taking the pictures, like.
That's not incorrect.
We got a spit take, guys. Perfect episode for it. So downstairs, you walk out into this hallway. There are 2 bathrooms that can be for people to actually use. No sex in those bathrooms. We did see a couple of people having sex in the sauna, and we did report it to someone because, like, don't be that guy, you know? But the hot tub is not, like, it maybe holds 8 or 10 people, and it's inside. The pool, however. So you can get to the pool 2 ways. There's a door from the bar that you can go out through, or you can come down from the upstairs change rooms, which is great. So you can just take your stuff, take your clothes off, and then walk outside, walk down the steps right onto the pool deck. And the pool backs onto, they have like a courtyard, and it's all wooden. There's benches everywhere. There's a spot for hanging up your towels and whatever else you have. Then the pool, I would say, is about 30 to 35 feet. It holds, I'm not sure how many people, but like there were a good number of people in it, and there was still plenty of room. Like there's never been a time when I've gone there not being able to get in the pool because of too many people.
And I think you said they keep the pool really warm.
Oh my God.
Even in the winter, I'm assuming?
So this most recent visit was in the winter.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't a lot of snow down in Toronto, but because of the way the privacy walls are built, nobody can see in there. Like you're talking like 15, 20 foot privacy walls or fences. if the snow fell into, now I'm sure if it was like a massive snowstorm, if you're getting the winds like we get here, it would be different. But by the time the snow reaches the pool, there's so much steam coming from the pool that it melts before it hits.
Right.
So the water is about 104 degrees, which is hot tub temperature. Like if you have a hot tub or if you've been to a hot tub, that's what the whole pool is like, which is absolutely
That sounds
incredible.
amazing.
It's honestly like, next time I go, we've talked about this a bunch of times. Like, I think it's what I want to do for my 40th birthday. My 40th birthday's coming up in June, and I've thought about lots of different places I want to go, but like, I love that place, you know? So I'm really debating like going there with a few friends, like with my partners and a few friends. I haven't really decided because I have to work it around my work schedule and stuff, but I would love to go back. We spent hours in the pool. We spent hours just chatting with each other, touching, talking, making out, talking to other people. And like this most recent time, we met this fantastic couple from New Zealand, and we were just all standing around with no clothes on, like adults. They just moved to Toronto from New Zealand. They visited here and they loved it, so they moved back. We spent hours just chatting with them. And I wish I had gotten like their contact info, because like they were my people, you know what I mean? And like nothing happened. Like, not saying I would have been against it necessarily, but it just didn't go that way. We ended up all going to get drinks and stuff, and we were ready to leave, so we ended up not running back into them. But like, we spent a couple of hours in the pool just chatting with them, having a drink, laughing, carrying on, people watching. Like, it's such a vibe. There was a group of women there who, one of them was turning 40. There's maybe 5 or 6 of them. They were kind of all just in a huddle. They all had bathing suits on, I think maybe except one girl. They were there celebrating her 40th birthday, and I just thought that was the greatest thing ever. Like, no men, it was just the girls. It's $15 to get in if you're a woman, a single woman. Honestly, I don't think there's a safer place in Toronto. You're going to a place that has basically an outdoor like 40-person hot tub, decently priced drinks, cheap admission, and there's zero chance that a man is gonna assault you or anybody's going to assault you, because they're getting their ass thrown at the door if they make the wrong move. And there's eyes on everybody all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what a great fucking idea. All of a sudden, one girl just goes, all right, I want to go see some fucking. And they just like all follow her inside, and they just go browse around and watch people having.
What a girls' night.
Right? You know, sometimes that's what you need. That's
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's the girls' night you need, right? And anyway, I just thought, like, we ended up chatting with this couple from New Zealand about it, and we were all saying, like, name a safer place. Like, if you go to any other bar in downtown Toronto, the drinks are more expensive, the admission is more expensive, like the door cover's more expensive, and you are not getting in a hot tub or a pool, and you're not going to be as safe, in my opinion. So I just think it's like an amazing place, because I think the stigma of people having sex there, like people liken it to like a bathhouse, for example, which I guess it kind of is. Like, bathhouses were the original sex clubs in a sense, but people have this like mentality of it being like dirty and icky and whatever it makes you feel. And again, I think that comes from societal norms and what we've been force fed, you know, and everybody knows how I feel about sex. And I just don't see the issue with a place that's offering a safe space for people whom otherwise might not have it to go to figure out what their pleasure consists of, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. There are people who they don't know if they're dominant or if they're submissive or if they're asexual or if they're into feet or if they're...
Whatever it may
exactly.
be, this is a place where people can come together to explore those sides of themselves that they may not have a space to otherwise.
Exactly, and it's such a safe space to do that. The events that they have, there's such a broad range of like different things that they do. They have a bukkake night. They have like a foot fetish night.
They have like a sapphic night.
They do. They have, I just saw today, they're doing a night for just all women. So no men are allowed whatsoever, offering like, I think, free Sibian rides in the ballroom. And like, I wish I could remember some of the other nights I saw that they were having, but I just thought they were so friggin' cool. They have like sexy icebreakers and stuff in the ballroom so people can get to know each other. But if you just want to observe and like do your own thing, that's okay too. There's never any pressure. Like, we didn't feel any pressure from anybody the entire night to participate in anything we didn't want to participate in. And once you can get past that, ooh, oh, they're having sex, like, you know, child inside you, I guarantee you would have an amazing time. And like, I don't see any reason why like friends can't go there together, you know? Whether or not you're planning to fuck your friends or not is immaterial. Like, you should just be able to go, either go hang out in the pool or part ways or whatever. It should just be normal. Like, I can go there with my best friend, Kate, and it's not weird, and she's asexual, you know? So like I said before, it's like watching friggin' monkeys in the zoo for her. But why would you not want to go to this place where there's cheap booze, big old pool in the middle of the winter? It opens at like 2 o'clock in the day. I think it's 1 actually. So you could go there from like in the summer. You could go make a day of it. The pool deck is beautiful, really nice, like wooden, very like carefully built, looks really good. So like you could go there at 1 p.m. They'll order food for you. They'll get food like DoorDashed and Ubered to you. Like, the staff is just, I can't say enough good things about the staff. They're just excellent, right? It's just such a chill place. And like I said, we've been twice now. Our second trip was just a couple months ago. I guess it was kind of for our anniversary. Same thing, you know, we had a little ramp upstairs and we spent a lot of time in the pool. We spent a lot of time in the dungeon because, like I said, Brent loves that. The first time we went, so there was the like actual planned show happening out in the ballroom.
Right.
But at one point, everybody from the ballroom had like, the ballroom and the dungeon are directly across from each other. Like, there's probably 4 feet between them. And everyone had sort of just made their way over to the dungeon because there was, on one of the spanking benches, there was this little tiny Asian woman. And there was this giant, burly, bearded, like beer gut, like dude just absolutely railing on her. She would just not give in, and everybody was watching it because it was just so entertaining, right? And he would just like grab her hair and pull her up and say, "Are you my bitch?" And she wouldn't answer. She just wouldn't give in. At one point, he like said, "Does anybody have ice?" And he came and got like a handful of ice and he rubbed it all over her ass. And he was like, "So you think like this is going to cool down the stinging, but actually it's going to make the next 5 or 10 smacks way worse." And then he just like let her ass cool down and he just started hammering her again. And then like at the end of it, she got off and they hugged. And it was like a thing. He had like his duffel bag full of tools and toys and he's like, "I'm actually a big teddy bear." Like, and they just had this like little cute moment. And then they weren't there together. Like, these were just people that like frequent, I guess. There was also like a group of people in the pool who I think probably like on Molly or something that makes you like touch feels really good, you know? They were just all floating in like a big pile in the pool. And then this one girl just goes, "There's so many faces." And we just like, it was just so, they were all just making out with each other, having a time. And it was just, oh, it's just such a good experience. And I can't wait to go back. But yeah, that's the two, like like I said, we've been there twice and both were absolutely phenomenal experiences. I highly, highly recommend anyone who lives in the area or is visiting Toronto to have a look on their website or their Instagram. On Instagram, I think they're at Aquaflirts, and you can just Google Oasis Aqualounge and you'll find lots of information and reviews and that kind of stuff. I cannot say enough good things about the staff, the establishment. I know there are a couple of other sex clubs in Toronto as well. From my research and from what I know, and from now, I haven't been to the other ones, so I can't speak from personal experience, but my understanding is Oasis tends to be a little more laid back. Their cleaning policies are a bit stronger. Well, I have OCD as well, so that does play into stuff like that. So that was a concern for me going there. As someone with like pretty severe OCD and I'm highly medicated for it, I didn't feel...
You have like a cleaning obsession, you mean? Like
yeah,
or like a cleanliness?
Yeah, like
or like
that...
a contamination OCD?
Yes.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah, so like that's not like the main...
component of
my
your
OCD,
brand
but
of
it is
but part of it.
Yes, I think the cleaning thing comes in play with most types of OCD. Like, you know, I talked about I have a safe list for people that I'm willing to like drink off of and stuff, right? It may not always be the people that you think, right? It's that kind of stuff. So like going into what I guess society would kind of deem as a dirty place, or like you don't...
Well, I mean, there's an expectation that like you're going to be seeing bodily fluids and different stuff like that. So it's kind of like the gym, right? Like wiping your bench down, like when you're done your reps or whatever.
Exactly.
So.
And like I said, they do have, the staff are going around incessantly cleaning, but at the same time they also have wipes and disinfectant and paper towels and stuff on the wall so that
You can clean
you
as
can
well
clean
too.
yourself, right? They also have condoms and lube and stuff, and that's just, they're trying to encourage everybody to be safe, and like just the vibe, like I said, it's so sex positive, it's so body positive. As a fat person, like I know I'm much bigger than you, but also even any body type that has any little bit of extra, what do you call it, insulation, I feel like I'm always like conscious about that kind of stuff. I guess really it doesn't matter how big or small you are, we all have insecurities about our bodies, right? But especially as a fat person, I feel like sometimes I don't get treated the same. I'm perfectly confident in my body. I know my partners love my body, and I'm trying to lose weight, but that's for health reasons. But I still, sometimes it seeps in. Sometimes, do you feel...
You still live in society.
Yeah.
There's always going to be those pressures. That
Do you feel like that creeps in sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I wish it didn't. And of course, society and social media has made it that way. But this is the one place I can honestly say that both times I was there is probably one of the most amazing times I've ever felt in my entire life. I felt sexy, I felt confident, I felt like I could finally be myself without any judgment. And I think that's really important because a lot of people hide who they are. I even find that like affects relationships and stuff when one person is hiding maybe like a sexual kink, you know, they're hiding it and they feel like they have to because they feel like it's dirty or like whatever word you want to use to describe it, taboo or whatever.
People carry a lot of shame.
Exactly. But we're forced almost in a way to carry that shame. And I just feel like a place like this opens up so many, like it gives you the opportunity to explore things that you may not normally explore, and you can do that with your partner. It's important to do that with your partner. That's the one person you should never feel any shame to talk to your partner about, and I think that's the mistake a lot of people make. Instead of talking to their partner, they do it in secret, or they talk to strangers, or they talk to their friends even about it instead of just discussing it directly with their partner. We've talked about before, that's a snowball effect. It
Absolutely, yeah.
Lead to all kinds of...
And I think like you can feel shame and still, if you could find a way to share that even with your partner, like it's okay to feel shame about something and still address it kind
Absolutely.
of thing, right?
That's such a good point. Like shame is just like jealousy, it's a perfectly natural emotion to feel and it has its place, but you should be able to share that. I think
it's worth exploring, and it's worth exploring with your partner why you feel certain ways.
I agree. And the thing about it is that there's going to come a point in your life where you're not going to be able to have sex as frequently as you're doing it now. And people don't always think ahead. But like, I want to enjoy the shit out of that as much as I can until I'm not able to anymore. Sex is one of the like simplest pleasures in life. And if you're doing it right, it can be very, very pleasurable. And we're going to do an episode, probably a couple of episodes about that, especially on female pleasure. I think females especially feel a lot of shame, especially about like masturbation and having one night stands and like just shame in general around sex, more so than men. And men too. Like, I'm not saying that men don't feel any shame, but I feel like men are probably the ones who feel like they need to hide their kinks more so even than women. But anyways, I'm on a tangent now. That's for another episode. But again, check it out. Oasis Aqualounge in Toronto. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised if you went there. You know, it might take you a minute to like
get over the initial shock.
Leave your shame at the door, but man, what a absolutely incredible experience for anybody, just anyone, literally anyone. I think everybody, it's a place that everyone should try to go if they ever get the opportunity. I think that's all I really like have to say about Oasis. I think I covered...
Wonderful.
Yeah, unless you guys have any questions.
Yes, I have some questions. I know you mentioned the price to get in, the admission fee, but from my understanding and my own research, that is only for females. It is a completely different structure for the fellas.
Absolutely. I meant to mention that. For a couple, it is $115. For a single woman, it is $15. So you're paying for the man, obviously, right? For Brent, Rebecca, and I to go, it was $130, I think. For a night out for two people, for what you're getting, I don't feel like that's unreasonable. And obviously the price is jacked up to help offset, and that's why they don't let single men in. It's to protect people, and I understand that, right? We're going to get into our listener question for this week, and we're going back to our original format of answering one random question at the end of every episode. We wanted to do it a little bit differently for the sex episode because...
that was mostly a Q&A.
Totally, and we will have episodes like that, and we'll probably go back and forth. But I thought this question was, I'm going to say, controversial. Ash, why don't you read out the question and then I'll explain what I mean.
Okay, the question is, do you worry that your other partners are more physically attracted to each other than to you?
Okay, so multifaceted answer here. First of all, I think that question's a little bit controversial because I don't necessarily know if I would have gotten that question if I wasn't fat. And actually, Rebecca was the one who kind of made that realization. This is not meant to offend whoever sent in that question, because I'm sure they were just asking a question that they thought about, you know? But it just gets into the like inherent kind of fat phobia that we experience as a society.
We'll give the writer the benefit of
a
the
doubt.
doubt.
Absolutely.
That they were coming from a real
Totally.
place.
This is more about addressing it as a inherent societal norm more than directing it at the person who asked the question. I just think that like it's so inherent in us. I wonder if Rebecca was the one doing the podcast, if she would have gotten that question. And it's hard not to think that, because as a fat person, even though I have so much to offer, I am just as capable and intelligent and well-read and well-spoken and funny as the next person. Not to toot my own horn here. And modest too. But I don't know that Rebecca would have gotten that question had she been the one doing the podcast. And that signals a greater issue to me than, you know, obviously that's something that we will delve into in another episode. But it's just something for everyone to kind of be mindful of, you know. Sometimes it's so
internalized.
Yeah, it's so internalized.
Internalized misogyny, internalized fat phobia, internalized ableism. We are all victims of it.
Internalized homophobia, internalized racism. Like, racism's probably the biggest example of that. You know, it's systemic. But yeah, it's just interesting. Maybe I'm way off base, you know, and I know that's going to be a controversial point for a lot of people. I will say that I have noticeably been treated different based on my size. Nobody can tell me that my lived experience didn't happen. You know what I mean? So that's just something that, like, when Rebecca mentioned that the other day, it was a very thought-provoking for me. But to answer the question, I'm sure there have been times, we all play the comparison game. That's like natural, especially for women. And men do it too. I mean, there have been times, like I said, where I've looked at Rebecca's perky titties and tight ass and been like, fuck, I wish I didn't have saggy titties and a dimply ass, you know? But my saggy titties and my dimply ass are mine. They've been through some shit. Brent and I have a connection that nobody could ever sever. Brent and I have been together for 13 years. Rebecca and I have been together for 1. I feel an incredibly strong bond with her, and the 3 of us together, you know, we're very in tune with each other. I don't really
It's not keeping you up at night.
It's not
something you're worried about or feeling insecure of every day. I think it's normal for insecurities to pop up for everybody.
Agreed.
So just because you're in a throuple with a beautiful woman, no, there's nothing extra there.
I think back to something you said to me. I can't remember when this was, but you said you're winning too.
Yeah, she's your girlfriend / fiance too.
Exactly. First of all, I've never felt that. I've never felt that Brent was more physically attracted to Rebecca or she was more physically attracted to him.
Yeah.
In the year that we've been together, that has never been an issue for me. When it comes to like paying attention to each other and giving each other what we need, we're all very in tune with that. We all coexist really well, especially in the bedroom, and that has never really been a thing. While I have maybe internally thought it from time to time, and I mean not very often, I don't want to sit here and lie, there probably has been a time where I was like, Rebecca's skinnier than me, Rebecca's prettier than me, Rebecca has a nicer ass than me, whatever. But I also have a lot to bring to the table, and physical attraction is so subjective. That's another topic that we are going to delve into here eventually, about conventional hotness, we call it.
And I'm sure there's things about you that Rebecca may feel like, oh, I wish I was X like Ashley is. Like,
Oh, I love that.
We all
Yeah,
do it.
Absolutely. It happens with my sister all the time. My sister's like, I wish I could be as outgoing and as
Bubbly
and flirtatious as you are. And I'm like, well, I would never be able to be a mother who runs a household and works a 7 to 3 job, and I don't know how you do it. So we do it with everybody. We always compare ourselves, and with the way social media is these days, it's hard not to. But no, from my perspective, I've always gotten everything I need from both of them. They both make me feel incredibly sexy, incredibly beautiful, loved all the time. There's never been a time where I have felt like they were more attracted to each other. I say it to Rebecca all the time. I'm like, I bet you people think, like, what's Brent still doing with Ashley when he has Rebecca?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people are just
surface, baby.
That's a fact.
He
right?
married you. He made a commitment to you. It's more than just what you look like.
And I bet you we're having better sex than 60% of people out there, you know? So, like, I'm not. Brent is here with us, and he's like motioning a higher percentage than that. I don't feel like I'm that daft, but I don't think there's either one of.
I think if you were feeling that way, you guys would address it.
Yes, absolutely, we would.
It would get dealt with.
Like I said, I'm not stupid. I would know if either one of them is faking it, and they ain't, you know? So it's like, we all love and respect each other. I think both of them are beautiful. They think I'm beautiful. Physical attraction isn't everything, and that's something that a lot of people need to get past, because you'd probably be having a lot better sex if you got out of that, what'd you call it, Ashley? Surface level of thinking. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I digress.
There you go. Yeah, thank you, question writer.
Yeah, excellent
the answer
question.
Is no.
Very thought-provoking question, and actually it leads us into our next episode, which I know we teased a few episodes ago. It's going to be all about jealousy, different kinds of jealousy between partners, jealousy between friends, jealousy between siblings, family members. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff next week. This is going to be a really cool episode for a lot of people. So please tune in if you have any questions for us in the meantime. We would love it if you could send them along. We love getting questions from listeners. They've all been like super cool, thought-provoking questions. So please keep sending them in. I will post the NGL link in my Instagram story again, both my personal Instagram and the Big Girl Feelings Instagram account. And we also have, for anyone who hasn't seen it, we do have a splash page up on our website now. Brent works like a friggin' Anyways, he's psychotic. But he did get a little bit of free time this week to add a splash page, which has an anonymous form on it.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, so you can just go to biggirlfeelings.com, fill out that form, leave your name blank, and it will be an anonymous question for us. Also with your topic suggestions, anything like that. Another thing that I want to mention on air before we tie up the episode, as I've said before, I'm like overwhelmed and so grateful for everybody's support, all the likes, all the comments, all the shares. If you are listening to this and you've liked what you've heard, and I know it's in the outro as well, but I just wanted to personally ask if you could go to your Spotify or your Apple Podcasts or your YouTube and just take a second to rate the podcast 5 stars or leave a review on one of our social media pages. Follow our social media pages. That stuff helps. Like, you have no idea how much that helps propel us forward.
Absolutely. The rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever you listen to this podcast, please, if you could spare the time to do it, that really helps.
We would all be eternally grateful, and I will always pay it forward, and I will always pay it back tenfold. I'm here for supporting everybody, especially women. We all need to lift each other up in whatever we're doing. I think that's so important. So yeah, if you guys could take a second to do any of those things, we certainly would appreciate it. I hope you all have a great week and a great weekend, and we will all be back next week to talk about jealousy.
Thank you for listening to the Big Girl Feelings podcast, a Right Good Studios production. Cover art by Jerry Stamp. Follow us on social media. You can find us at Big Girl Feelings on Instagram and Facebook. Our website is biggirlfeelings.com. Do you have questions for us? Topic suggestions? Stories you'd like to share? Please email us at ashley@biggirlfeelings.com. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. If you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, I love Don't Air Sass, but I also love Calm.